It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, today I want to discuss the state of the industry, but before I do that, I want to share a story with you. I heard this story from Charlie Munger, and we know that Charlie Munger is the co-president of Berkshire Hathaway. It goes something like this. Years ago, a gentleman went to Mozart and said, "Mozart, I need you to help me become a world-class composer." And Mozart looked at the gentleman and said, "You will never be a world-class composer." The gentleman was kind of put off and said, "Well, Mozart, you were a world-class composer before you were 13. And Mozart said, "Yeah, and I didn't have to ask anybody to help me." Ladies and gentlemen, the reason I'm sharing that story with you is a simple reason. All my friends that are in the industry that sells and supplies and service print equipment, that industry is going through an evolutionary event, a major disruption, and in order for you to navigate through all the challenges, you're going to have to be an entrepreneur. You're going to have to be able to create your own destiny. There is no handbook. There is no magic wand. There is no consultant that has all the answers. You're going to have to go out there and forge forward. You're going to have to do your own investigating. You're going to have to write a business plan. You're going to have to hire the right people. And you're going to go out there and disrupt the status quo like all your competitors refuse to do. And if you do that, you will succeed. You will get through the evolutionary event and all the challenges. Unfortunately, when I listen to my friends talking about the state of the industry, a lot of them can't even accept that we have any challenges at all. Or we think the challenges that we have are just nothing. We've done it before. Our industry has never been through the challenges it faces today. Never. I'm so sick of hearing people say that. We have been an industry that sold a product that needed a supply and needed a service tech to fix it. That's been the core deliverable of this industry for 50 years. Whether it was a typewriter, whether it was a thermofax, whether it was plain paper, whether it was an MFP, it doesn't matter. We sold a product that needed a supply, that needed a tech to go fix it. We managed parts, we managed techs. We managed the sale or the lease of the product. Our industry has been doing that for like 50 years. The future is nothing about that. The future's selling the cloud services. The future's doing services that don't even include products. The future's going to take human capital that we couldn't even comprehend what we're going to have to pay these people. The future is completely different. There is no inherited easy road. And unfortunately, when I listen to my friends talking about the state of the industry and they don't even want to address the realities of the industry, how in the world are they going to navigate through it? Ladies and gentlemen, we got some big issues. We got a major OEM called Konica, 3 years of losses. They actually breached the covenants of their loans. They had to go to their lenders, and their lenders had to agree to not foreclose on them, if you will, or call the notes. Ladies and gentlemen, the bottom line is we need to pay attention to that, and we don't. We got a $300 million roll-up, Visual Edge IT with a loan and non-accrual. I've been talking about this for about 2.5 months. No one in the industry is addressing it at all. Why is that? Great America started a company called Collaborance 15 years ago, and Collaborance was going to help the dealers deliver IT services. The master service provider, I've talked about this quite a bit on the end of the day with Ray. But you know what? Great America doesn't believe that the print channel is ever going to transition into IT services. As a matter of fact, if you ask those people at Collaborance and they were honest with you, they would say they don't even care to call on the print channel. They're more focused on the IT services channel, as they have every right to be, because over the last 15 years, the print channel has really been pretty bad at doing it, other than a few examples. We've had the same consultants talking to you all for over a decade. At the end of the day, I've talked about that in previous episodes. But all these consultants, all these brochures you're trying to read to get there, they're not going to get you there. You got to do what Mozart did. You got to be able to get in front of that piano and just play it. Even if it sounds like crap, you'll figure it out. And then you got to go listen to people that play really well. And then you got to pick up what you hear. And you go out and explore. And you become a master at your craft. There is no easy way. It's called being an entrepreneur. Ladies and gentlemen, we got private equity groups out there that have had these assets for nearly 10 years. That's the state of our industry. That's not really good. Those private equity folks never dreamed they would be hanging on to these assets for a decade. We got peer groups out there that if you go to the peer group, you'll think you're in 1970. We've got dealer owners that are doing videos to call out an overreaching OEM, and they're disguising their voice and covering their face. That's disgusting. You know why they're doing that? Because their peer groups let them down. Because years ago, those peer groups, they would have put HP on stage and they would have allowed the audience to drill the hell out of them. And they would have helped negotiate contracts. But what's happened to our peer groups? We've allowed them to become sponsor-driven as opposed to being dealer-driven. That has to change, especially as we navigate through these turbulent times. We've got peer groups that would rather get everybody together and talk about stuff that makes everybody comfortable than actually challenge each other. We love to sit on stage and talk about our diversification strategies, but we forget to bring the math. And no one questions it. As long as everybody feels good when we leave, it really doesn't matter if we execute anything we might have learned. And what did we really learn without any real facts? Ladies and gentlemen, the state of our industry is not good. But that doesn't mean that people in our industry can't get through these challenging times. It just means that the people in our industry has to face the reality that our industry has some challenges. And we're not going to get there by pretending we don't have any. And we're not going to get there by listening to lunatics talk about stuff we want to hear instead of stuff we need to hear. Here's the deal, folks. I'm going to make an open invitation. I know there's some old folks out there that when I do an episode that they don't like, they tell people I'm lying. They tell people I'm misinformed. Please reach out to me. You could come on the end of the day, put your smiley face on the screen, and then you could tell the entire community how I'm misinformed or how I'm lying. Because quite honestly, I believe it's you that's lying. I already know you're misinformed because you're too insecure of your place in the future, so you keep yourself in a dysfunctional present. I don't do that. I'm not afraid to go out of the box. I'm not afraid to make those challenges. But when I see dealers, grown men and women, disguising their voice and hiding their face because they're afraid of the repercussions from an overreaching OEM called HP, that's disturbing. That is disturbing. What happened to our industry? What happened to our peer groups? What happened to the senior leaders in our industry who have become so complacent with status quo, they're willing to watch the whole industry fall off a cliff because they don't want to challenge anything? Ladies and gentlemen, we've got to make more challenges. We got to be entrepreneurs. We got to be like Mozart. Just some things to think about over the weekend, my friends, because we all know this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see you all tomorrow.